Now, the Nairobian, there's an interesting story here. I was used and dumped, says Kajwang's widow. This, of course, is Kajwang's is it second wife? If I can get her name. Her name
second.
It's called Faith.
Faith. Yes, Faith. So what's going down here?
Now we remember about the what was happening. There was a time that she claimed that she was stopped from viewing the body because they did not take her, they did not recognize her as the second wife. There was drama at Leaf Funeral Home. But eventually, it looks like everything calmed down and everything went okay. But then there's a problem because she claims that, you know, after the husband's death, you know, the friends got together and wakachanga pesa ya watoto. Even, what is it called, what? Mpango wa kando. You remember there was a statement like that by the former Prime Minister? It's even here in the Nairobian, it says that tuchange pesa ya kusaidia watoto wote hata wa mpango wa kando. So she says there's about 6.7 million that was raised yes. But she has not even received any amount, and she's saying that even her kids now cannot afford to go to school because they don't have school fees and stuff like that. So she's saying she feels used and dumped. And
yes. I see that there's even another small story in there. Come home if you can't afford rent.
Yes, this was the father-in-law. You know, sent her text message and said, if you're living in Nairobi and you cannot afford rent, wacha kutusumbua. You come and live in the village like other people. So I mean, I think. Yeah.
But it's sad if, in fact, there was money raised specifically for the, you know, kids' education, and that she did not get a share of it. And also, many Kenyans, even on Twitter, took to her corner after all this debacle. First, you know, from the fact that she was not allowed to, initially to view the body. You know, the kids, she says, were treated badly, even in terms of just recognition and all. I mean, this has been a tough time for her and her children. So it's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. You know, she says that you know, even when Kajwang on his lowest point, she housed him, and you know, even the family, the brothers, and all that stuff. There are many photos that are also there evident in the Nairobian here of them hanging out together. Hanging out. I think this
looks like really low times.
And that girl is so pretty. Her daughter is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So it would actually be sad if actually money was raised for the children, purpose, for all the children, and then she does not actually, especially for fees, because really the children really don't have they didn't have a choice in this.
Entirely, the money is not like hers or her families and stuff. It's just to be split.
But maybe they're still breaking it down.
Amongst it's taking too long. 6.5 anyway. 6.5.
And schools are still going on. Okay. All right, moving on to another story on the front page still. I'll let Sophia talk about the passionate Bukusuman first, but that's coming up.
We'll get to
but first, Sonko. I did not run mad and was never in Mathare.
You know, there was all these stories going on social media that people had said. First they had said that he's dead, and then they said that he's gone crazy and he's admitted at Mathare Hospital. So Sonko says you know, he did not run mad. These are just some of his opponents who are trying to smear bad propaganda.
And he mentions some politicians.
Yeah, he's talked about a couple of them that went even to, you know, for fundraising, and I quote him, like people like Maina Kamanda and Rachel Shebesh. He says that they went into a hotel room and into a hotel in the city, raised funds so that they can tame him, because you remember he said that he's interested in the gubernatorial seat. He wants to run for governor in 2017. Right. And now he says that some of his opponents now are coming in strongly, trying to attack him, saying he's going against a certain community. His relationship with the president is at arm's length. Well, he goes on and denies all these things. He says his line to the president, direct line to the president, is still on. It's not been blocked.
Yeah, he even brags and says that Jomo Geshaga, who is the private secretary, even calls him at that point in the interview, and he says that he's invited him for a meeting with the president and one of the functions that he was going for.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway. Well, we'll get to that Sarika story as we move along. On page 2, though, one of my favorite pages, 10 things about fresher drivers. So the first time on the road, I don't know which one stands out for you, guys, but I know that speed not, number 6.
Yeah.
Somehow they feel like the slower they drive, the better things will pan out on the road.
Yeah, it's annoying, but I think I don't like learners on the road. I really.
But you were once
a learner.
Everyone was learning.
I think when I was learning how to drive, I used to. I did it in the bundes, not in the city.
Which way am I going?
but this one I can't see my lane. Have you seen those guys with the L sign in the roundabout? They are confused as ever. They don't know. Learners, those guys with the most confused people like in the city.
Well, they're
I've never seen any confused person in the city than a learner who's someone
you can't fully blame them because our driving ethics are.
Even
talk about roundabouts.
You talk about
you go on a roundabout, you take the exterior lane and you're going to the right, and you're an experienced driver. What's the learner supposed to do?
But I wouldn't say the learners are even at fault because the worst behaved as this you'd call.
Have you seen the way learners drive like this?
But again,
that's not
learners. That's not learners. That's women.
No, excuse me. I don't drive like that.
They know Nikiachilia steering.
Have you ever seen me? You've seen me driving. Do I drive like this?
You're pretty cool. You're pretty cool.
Women drive like that.
She's pretty asking how to drive.
She's a good driver.
Okay, she has tinted windows, so I've not actually seen her drive.
When we go for functions, she drives us.
Yeah, I'm usually the designated driver.
I think when is the next function? I need to bring a report.
Because I don't indulge.
It's not function like that. But again, I think the way drivers would normally molest learners again on the road makes things worse. Because everybody's just hooting because you can see the L.
And then the matatu is coming and
where do they go now?
swerving.
Yeah. But the thing is, the positive side of it is if you learn how to drive in Kenya, you can drive anywhere.
Apart from Uganda. Uganda is really messed up.
Oh, because of the borders.
Borders are everywhere.
Baganda,
it's like
I'm telling you.
Page 7, gentlemen, to my heartbreaking story here. So Bukusu Darling and Sarika Patel calls it quit that Love Boat has sunk 6 months into it. So everyone remember Kenyans got thrilled by this particular story. KTN broke it fast. Every other media house ran with it after that, must mention. Yes, and now, unfortunately,
sadly,
it's over.
The soap opera between Sarika and the Bukusu man is over.
What do we call it?
She was unwell, she claims, and then he refused to take her to hospital.
Yes.
And people can read the other details in the Nairobian.
People can read it. But it's a very, very sad thing. I always knew these soap operas don't work, but it's really sad because...
So you always knew.
Why didn't you tell us then?
Why did you tell us?
I didn't want to look like I'm attacking some people. It was encouraging me because we were looking at the ethnic... different races and religions and ethnic backgrounds coming together, you know, in unions and stuff like that. And this is also a story that has been done in the Nairobian today, where they say that till tribe do us part. It's on page 28, which is saying that love is blind, but marrying from the wrong community can be an eye-opener, which is
what you'd say what happened, especially because she went against her parents' wishes, and now she says she regrets.
Yeah, and now she says that he's also been abusing her.
So one pull to read. I really want pull to buy the Nairobian.
Wow, I think people should just.
There's more. We've not given out.
Yeah, but it's very sad. It's very sad. All I know is that he's a local celeb now.
So guys, no, he's in market.
The man who brought a light-skinned
and she's in the market as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So
number 9 has a very disturbing story of how
house helps are using baby boys to quench sexual thirst. I mean, house helps again in the spotlight.
Well, it's been there. You know, we saw that story of the house help who was abusing the kid the other day, and now we're getting to this revelation where
they are quenching themselves.
That now even house helps. There's this lady who confesses. I mean, I don't even think we should talk about this one. Like, I mean, it's a very sad story when.
No, I think it's good to mention it because right now many people are at work. Over the weekend they're going to be busy. They're going to leave their boys, little boys, with house help. So I think it's good to highlight it. Yes, and girls.
So this boy is only 3 years old, and when the parent discovered that he was a bit disturbed, he asked the kid what was happening, and the kid pulled the mom into the bedroom and displayed what the house help used to tell him to do. So he's trying to have intercourse, telling her to. I mean, it's a very, very graphic, and it's very unfortunate. And then she says that I don't know why they do this thing, and then they wanaomba msamaha. It's really bad.
See,
it's really bad.
Makosa imetendeka.
Oh man,
the damage is done.
That's no, we should not even. That is just so sad. Yeah,
but it's also I think a call for all parents to be very careful and just to watch. Don't assume, don't expect that everything is okay, especially when your child tells you there's something wrong. We have a tendency not to believe them, thinking no, it cannot be.
And I remember in a couple of weeks ago we broke it down in the Nairobian, giving people details of how you should, there are signs that your kid is being molested. Yeah.
Right, so that's another reason why you should get yourself a copy of the Nairobian, so that you can see what happens, and also just to get some telltale signs from your children.
Yeah, and Nairobian gets a bit serious here. Usually we have lighter stories, but on a news feature that's on page 12, a puzzle that's Langata land. I mean, we talked about this all week, owing to the events at Langata Primary School. But now coming into sharp focus, and on that story on the news feature, is the Wilson Airport. And you remember construction on Weston Hotel had been halted. Was it in 2011 or 2012?
Yes.
Because it was on the flight path.
Yes.
There were concerns to Wilson. And now there are so many other buildings around there. So it's an accident waiting to happen. Is it it's a question that's being posed here?
Yes. And of course, we're left wondering what happened, because at that time when it was being built, it was on the flight path. Did that change? Did the planes change their path, or what happened?
Even at that time,
they're having now to maneuver because
because of the buildings. I mean, it may look funny, but we would not want to foresee an accident or
and it's a busy. Is it the busiest?
It's the third busiest in the country.
In the country.
Yeah, and it's a very, very busy airport. And
it's the busiest.
It is the busiest right now
in the country.
It is the busiest in the country.
Wilson is the busiest.
Have you seen the way those things come down when you're up Uchumi?
And Kwanza, this one for Wilson Airport has even those two small ones, the two bits of airport.
They're called days.
Yeah, to provoke to what the one you scare even before it lands in an exim.
I know.
So what we're looking at is all these buildings that have been and they're residential areas. Okay, next to Wilson Airport, and I was thinking, is this an accident about to happen, or because we've had a couple of accidents from Wilson Airport. I think last year a couple of students, about 2 of them, had a crash. Yeah,
of course, none associated with the infrastructure, the buildings.
Yes. But we are looking at, this is a residential area. Are we looking at some of these factors? I mean, how close is it from in a residential area to the runway? Okay. So I mean, it's a great focus, and I think City Hall has to address this one now.
And we hope they're not going to have the usual knee-jerk reaction where they address it after an accident. It has already been highlighted, so something needs to be done.
So that happens every time.
Unfortunate. And speaking of knee-jerk reactions, there's another very serious story here where they say schools, hospitals could be terror fields. And this, of course, is highlighting the fact that the kind of day and age we live in, these are potential targets. Again, we hope that we are putting measures into place, because according to what the Nairobian is saying, a survey by the Nairobian reveals that vigilance is only heightened after an attack. And schools and hospitals, of course, would be very, very
possible
vulnerable,
targets,
possible targets, and would be good targets, in quotes, for terrorists.
And it's a great revelation done by Hudson Gubiha, and I think it makes a lot of sense, because when the Nairobian was doing this survey, they were trying to check something like, how can you sneak in weapons into a hospital? Do we have cops manning primary schools and stuff like that? All those public gatherings that we always assume like nothing will happen. Those ones are all possible targets.
All possible. So I want to go to the Heads Up 23. And Director, please let me know if we have the pictures from social media, so that we see if we'll have a look at them. So I understand we'll have them shortly. Did you guys see those pictures? Because I was just looking at the scrolls now. You know, the people who are mentioned. But
come on, heads up as we get there. As we get there.
I think it's a good morning. But when we get back to Heads Up, Mafrika is saying, don't play my music, I'm controversial.
This is another one again of the Nigerian talk.
Yeah.
And this guy talked badly about again the Nigerian artists and stuff. And he apologized later. But now he says, I still feel nothing. Don't play my music and stuff.
Yeah, no, but you know, it's almost like an appeal for them to play DJs, people like Genius, to play more of local music.
Genius plays a lot of local music.
He does that, but that is what Mafrika is saying here. He says for him, he doesn't want his music to be played because it's already too controversial. But I think it's almost about time that we address that issue of how we are playing content of Kenyan music and Nigerian music. It's quite
Lipala dance has gone international.
Yes, of course. So.
Can you do the Lipala, Mike?
Do you wanna? No, the cameras can do it. Can lift it.
Yeah, you can lift it.
Technology can help me achieve that goal.
Have you seen that photo of Wahoo and
K-Rapt, man? This is in 2003. Yeah,
what? That's a blast.
This is blast.
That's Wahoo.
Blast from the past.
Yeah. And actually here in the Nairobian, we're asking you, what do you think of the fashion sense? You see how the people used to dress back in the day? It's in the, what do you call this one, Nuna?
Which one?
The katop that Wahoo is wearing.
Oh.
That is almost a tumbo cut, but it's not because you can't really see the tumbo.
Yeah, it hides the kitov. Feature kitov.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think brings back a lot of memories, you know, and rest
from back in the day.
It's a big artist.
But this was good fashion sense.
Yes, it was.
Good fashion sense.
Yes,
it was. Final story before we go. The Capital feature on page 28. So they say a good marriage is made in heaven, but what happens when couples are communities apart? Can intermarriages survive the storm? So we've seen the interracial marriage of Sarika and Habukusu Darling, well, unfortunately fall apart. Then there are others, and people are giving their thoughts on tribes that match somehow. Kikuyu girl and Luo man?
I've read that one. Let me say this Luo guy is this dark African, you know, the real African, meets Kikuyu girl who is the yellow. Like for him, like he's stepped to another world and wow. And
why are you frowning, Sophia? Why
he's describing
why are you making
like,
faces?
It moved me.
What do you mean the Luo man, the real African? All of these other
it says they are these sophisticated guys who just
most
like something also
meant from Luo
flamboyant,
are dark black, as in, you know, and most guys from
dark black.
Mount Kenya,
there's dark light.
Like dark. They're dark black and
is that hate?
And most girls from Mount Kenya and Ikambani are.
They look like her.
Yeah,
you know.
No, not all Kikuyus are light.
Well, but most of them.
And who said I'm Kikuyu?
No, we're not saying anything.
I think they're just talking about stereotypes. These are literally stereotypes, because I've seen very light-skinned Luo community.
Yeah,
and very dark-skinned Kikuyu.
Yeah,
who've not bleached.
Did you see what they said about the Kamba and the Taita woman?
What did they say?
Stephen had to come in guns blazing to protect.
You're like sister and brother. Really?
Well, it's an interesting read. Interesting. Well, but I think unfortunately, like on a serious note, are we at that age where we should be talking about is intermarriage, it's a good thing, whatever, interracial and intertribal unions and stuff like that. I thought we were almost past that now.
No, we're not, but it's good to encourage it.
It's good to encourage it.
Because I think there are people out there who still, you know, a mother will tell a daughter, don't you dare bring me a man from this and this community.
It's very unfortunate.
A father who will say the same, you know, and many times it, you know, hits the dead end in as far as negotiations.
And I think those TVs don't laugh because of the unions described here.
Have you seen the Marakwet woman and the Pokot man?
That's in the mix.
It's like, and they say that these ones will never go back home. The Nairobian, you know.
Okay. Maybe we're looking at it from the lighter side of life.
Yes. But it's important to intermarry because it distributes a lot of characters from different and colors. If you're dark community and you mingle with them.
You also kind of learn a lot about the other culture. Like now, for instance, when it comes to paying bride price, the different cultures do it differently.
It's so beautiful.
It brings a lot of rich culture and an avenue. When you look at it from the way it was meant to be, it was meant to actually bring the families closer together, and it does that in most cases anyway.
Well, my thoughts, while diversity is a good thing, it's beautiful, and I think that should not be lost. Others would argue at the end of the day, it's also good to keep breaking those lines so that kids of our kids grow up in a Kenya that you're not saying uyu ni nani na uyu ni wa, you know.
But it's not a bad thing to shop from the village.
It is. It's not bad. I think culture is such a beautiful thing. What you're saying, even in those negotiations, I find it amazing when I'm involved in those ceremonies, and then I get to learn so much about another culture and what they do. It's
you say that so passionately.
Yes, and I hope that, you know, my husband will come from another place so that I can.
I was just about to
now the new man comes in.
Now the new man comes in.
This should be the headline.
I was about to ask if have you gone through some of the negotiations? You know, it's good to know. There might be some kachali out there wondering, Sophia,
let's not even go there. I am fine.
But your fans are waiting, I'm telling you.
Mutaona. When the Lord says yes, nobody can say no.
Job, I meet guys and they're like, Mike, so now you're at KTN, so Maze Sophia, you hook me up. So I need to know.
How do we respond to that?
We get about you, by the way.
Yeah.
How do we respond to that?
Sometimes you ask, Sophia anakuanga hivyo tunamuonanga.
What do you mean hivyo tunamuonanga?
And guys are about to start
serious now.
No, like, what was funny is when Smita sent me messages after the show and he's like, so I'm with 5 guys right now and I'm telling you.
Smita is from another world.
So for those people who've been thinking Sophia is not real, we can touch her.
She's real. And by the way, once the cameras are off and you know all these lights are out, she's not, because there's a guy who was asking me, nikingia naye sasa tukingia maybe tuna have coffee date, will she be like, and now to the news.
And now,
what has been happening in your life? Your life has been one that has been going and going on. So tuambia pana tukimaliza news.
And I even don't do news like that.
Akizitoa hivi kwanza. Then after that DJ Genius
and the release. Too much information about what happened.
She's confessed that she'd like to cross over to another tribe. So there we are.
So to all men out there, man, she's
Filanga free.
Jeez, how did this turn around to be about me?
It's a good story, but we're talking about the story in Nairobi.
To your friend, tell him, first, I do not read news like that. I don't go like, and now to the news. I mean, I'm not stuck up like that. I think I'm very natural.
No, you are natural. But you see, there's some guys who only know that side of you.
The serious one.
Yeah, so they imagine now
if you crack a joke, they're shocked.
And you see, God has given us a mind that imagines things. So you imagine now I'm on a date with Sophia Wanuna. So she'll be like, so what do you do in your life?
Yeah.
You know how you end.
Are you working?
Are you not working?
Yeah.
And then
are
she
you
says,
thinking?
And then she says, in other news, where's the bill?
Okay, we must go. Our time is up.
Over.
What are you guys up to this weekend?
23rd, 24th. In the house watching movies. Watching movies.
We have a series.
My guy brought so many of those.
Okay, good. It's good to chill.
I have to.
And there are great movies happening right now.
I'm looking forward to watch The American Sniper.
Oh, that's a great movie, that one.
The whatever it's called, the trailer. I thought it was really.
Nikimalizana nayo naweza.
We are in the big screen.
But I watched on Sunday night. I watched.
Which one?
Taken 3.
Taken 3. Did you watch it 3D IMAX? With all the
I watched it at Junction. At the Junction, yes. And you'll be up to.
I am fresher. I think I want to see.
I'm fresher.
What he's been making, and you know he's launching that album today. I think it's an interesting one.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting one.
So we're taking a break, and then Mike, you'll be...
Yes, we'll be right back, and we've been talking about DJ Genius. We hear DJ Genius. Once in a while you see him, you know, doing his thing right there. But who's this DJ Genius? So find out after the break.
Okay.